systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. I got my guy Hebrewcheetah with me today. It's Monday. It's 11/11. Make a wish. Hopefully, we wish for the 100K up top on DK. Looking forward to breaking it down with Hebrew. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hopefully, the NBA was good to you this weekend. Hopefully, you had a good sweat. I know we were rocking and rolling over here at the Nation. I saw somebody won 140K over here at SHIPIT Nation, which is exciting to see. A lot of other winners as well. If you're just joining us or if you're not a member, make sure you head on over to SHIPITNation.com, enter the promo code NBA15, lock you in for 15% of all the memberships that we have over here. I'll give it to you right now, Hebrew. How was your weekend? How was your NBA? What's going on, my man? Happy Monday.
Hey, happy Monday to you too. Weekend was good. I've been kind of telling myself to stop playing MMA, then I keep playing. I'm glad I did though. I shipped first place in the $15 tournament over there this past weekend with the help of the best in the business, in my opinion. Big Marley and Titletown always putting out great content over there. But yeah, this is a really exciting week for sports. One of my favorite weeks that I can remember. We got the in-season tournament, or aka the NBA Cup, starting tomorrow. That's really fun. Last year, that was some really competitive games. Looked like all the stars and like all these teams took it really seriously, which was really cool to see. We saw some elevated minutes and tighter rotations in those games. So I'm really excited to watch that. I actually got to go to a game last year. Shout out to my DK host. Got to go to a Lakers Jazz game over here in LA, and that was a lot of fun, even though my Jazz got blown out. But yeah, in-season tournament starting this week, and also got a big pay-per-view this weekend. John Jones making his return, finally fighting Stipe Miocic. What feels like they've been talking about that for 10 years now. But yeah, it's finally happening. So I'm really excited for all the sports happening this week.
Yeah, should be a good tournament. I mean, that was kind of when the Pacers kind of came onto the map last year, made it all the way to the finals, if I'm not mistaken, and played the Lakers in the finals, but beat the Bucks a couple times, which was nice to see. So yeah. Are they doing those pods or quads again, like they did last year, where they you have I don't know, I think it was like 4 teams to a pod?
Yeah, they're doing it again. Same structure as last year. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. That should be good. Let's say hello to some people in chat. We got my boy Sean Sullivan in here as always. Go Collect, same as well. Takedown, what's going on? Takedown, Jordan, my man, up in Wisconsin. Kid Lightning, Wardo. Takedown saying no Knicks fans allowed. Him and Wardo going at it. Got some rivalry going over there. What's going on, William? How you doing? And Takedown thinks that's funny, but yeah, let's. We got a 5-game slate tonight, but hey, there's still 100K to win up top in the $15 main tournament over there on DraftKings and some other things as well. Make sure you're also tuning in to Hoop, Title, and Tambo. They did a breakdown of the Monday Night Football game tonight. That should be a good one. The big news over there, Tyreek Hill. I don't know if he's been in or out, but I'm going to share what we call the stone over here. I'm going to share the stone with everyone, and we will get right into that. Let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see it, Hebrew. Do I have it on the right setting? Let's see. Yep. Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. 5-gamer over here. We got the Cavs, the undefeated Cavs, 8-point favorites, headed into Chicago to take on these Bulls. Pretty high total. We know the Bulls like to get up and down. Talk to me a little bit about this game. You got 122 for the Cavs, 114 for the Bulls. Talk to me about this one, Hebrew.
Yeah, Cavs and Chicago both giving us some pretty good game environments this season. Cavs really picked up their pace last year. They were one of the slowest paced teams, but right now they are sitting 9th, and the Bulls are still 1st overall. I think this is a pretty good game to attack from a game environment standpoint. Probably the best on the entire slate. I mean, it's the highest over/under by a pretty good margin, and close enough spread where we shouldn't really expect a blowout. But yeah, I mean, both these teams are top 5 in transition scoring this season. But the Bulls are bottom 5 in transition defense, whereas Cleveland's top 6. So they could definitely be a mismatch there. Bulls are one of the worst rim defenses in the league, bottom 2 right now. Actually, another team on the slate has overtaken them as the worst rim defense in the league, but we'll get to that later. But they're starting to give up a little bit more three-pointers, which is one of their weak points last season. And then the Cleveland pretty sound defensively up and down the board. So no huge weaknesses for them there. But yeah, I think this is a good spot for the main guys on Cleveland. I really like the spot for Donovan Mitchell. Matchup-wise, it's really good, but it's been a weird start to the season for Donovan Mitchell. He's been the minutes have been pretty low, pretty up and down. He got up to 35 last game against Brooklyn, but the coach has kind of openly come out and said twice that he's been a decoy in a couple of these games. And you could tell, I mean, the shot volume is way down. He shot 12 times against Brooklyn, shot 13 times against Golden State, got up to 20 against New Orleans, but then a game against Milwaukee where a lot of us were on him. He only shot the ball 15 times, had 14, I think he had 13 first quarter points and then only scored 1 point for the last 3 quarters. He looked like he was on the way to breaking the slate. Yeah, I really want to get to him in this matchup, but I'm a little nervous that I just don't know what kind of Donovan Mitchell we're getting, but the price tag is really good. The matchup is really good. And you could really say the same thing for Darius Garland. He's been a lot more consistent and shown a better ceiling and probably better floor too. He's been in the 30s pretty much every game this season, minus the game against Detroit. The minutes aren't super high, but he does have 32 minutes pretty much locked and loaded. And yeah, he's shooting the ball really well right now. So I think I slightly prefer Garland over Mitchell for the 1K savings. And then Mobley and Allen both in really good spots too. I definitely prefer the spot for Evan Mobley. The Bulls are bottom 3 in DVP right now versus power forwards. I like the pace of spot for him, the weak rim defense. Got a lot of things going for him. So I like Evan Mobley a good bid here at 7.6K. Starting to flash a bit of the ceiling too, put up 54 last game. Yes, I definitely like Mobley tonight. And then Jared Allen, I think you could probably get to him, but he's kind of similar to Donovan Mitchell, just been very up and down. This is probably a good spot for him, though. Vucevic, definitely not a good defender. Already mentioned how bad the rim defense is for the Bulls. He only played 21 minutes on Saturday, so he should be well rested. That was just a weird game all around, so I don't really want to look too deeply into that. He's going to be a pretty good bet to get a double-double in pretty much every game that he sees 28-plus minutes. So I think the price is good on a guy like Jared Allen. And then I think LeVert, too, is a guy you can keep in your pool. He's going to get those second unit minutes, going to run the second unit. And they're actually, like, what's kind of interesting with the rotation, they're doing a lot of LeVert and Ty Jerome in the second unit and just having both Donovan Mitchell and Garland off the court, which is really good for a guy like Harris LeVert, because then you could kind of get the bulk of the usage, bulk of the assist and all that stuff. So I think that he makes some sense as a high upside value option at 5.1K. I would really only be getting to these Bulls guys if I have like 2 to 3 Cleveland guys and just kind of game stacking this one. It is a small enough slate where you can game stack, but nobody really stands out as a great play tonight. I think Levine is probably the best option at 6.8K. Should be good to go from a minutes perspective. Got up to 32 last game. That's what he was capped at, but probably gets back up to 34, 36 in this one. And that's pretty much all I got on the Bulls side. I think Vucevic is probably okay too, showing a really good floor, but I just don't think we need to go there on this slate with all these strong center options.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown of both of those. I mean, you see a lot of green over here in the stone. Those Cavs, man, they're just so deep. Obviously, they're good. We haven't seen those spike games that we saw out of Mitchell last year, but excellent breakdown there. Hey, Knicks fans for life, man. We welcome everybody. No matter if you're a Knicks fan, Hawks fan, we'll even take Trailblazers fans in here. The only requirement to be in here is you have to hit that like, have to hit that subscribe button. Only 2 things that the boss has asked for. So appreciate you joining us on this fine Monday afternoon, wherever you are. Let's move over to the next game. We got the Wizards taking on the Rockets. I saw Jalen Green's dunk. I think it was that yesterday or the day before. It was a pretty nasty dunk. Underdog was all over. But Wizards taking on the Rockets, big-time underdogs. Still without Kyle Kuzma, who's not going to make this one. I think Bub Carrington is questionable as well. I don't think there's any other injury news that I'm missing, but correct me if I'm wrong, Hebrew. But Big time dogs, 13.5. Got a pretty lowish total, 226. Wizards at the Rockets. Oh, Fred VanVleet as well is going to be missing. We have him listed in the stone. That'll get corrected here in the next update.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest news on the entire slate, and it's good that we got it early. I kind of wrote up all my notes as if Fred VanVleet was in, so I don't want to go. I don't really have like a ton to say about it. I think we know who the usual suspects are going to be: Tari Eason, Amon Thompson. Amon Thompson looks like just the clearest lock on the entire slate, matchup wise, and playing time wise. He's going to see 30 minutes, and this one should be starting at the point guard spot. I mean, he was just he's been lights out pretty much in his career with only one season, but every game that he played last year without Fred VanVleet, he was just an absolute monster. Averaged almost 42 DK points per game with Fred VanVleet out. So yeah, I think you just lock him in. Like, I'm strongly considering. I'm not going to play 150 tonight, but I'll play somewhere between 50 to 100 lineups, and probably just going to have him in 100% of them. I just don't see a way where he really fails tonight, barring any sort of injury or anything like that, which you can't really can't predict. But yeah, Jalen Green, I think a lot of people are going to flock to him, and rightfully so. Should see a big bump in usage. The ball handling should go his way a little bit more. He's had some up and down games without Fred VanVleet last year. The matchup is really, it looks great on paper against this Washington team, but I would imagine it's going to be Bilal Coulibaly on him defensively, and Coulibaly has been quietly one of the better defenders in the league on ball and off ball. So I think he can make things tough enough on Jalen Green at 7.4K where he could slightly underperform his projection right now. And yeah, 7.4K is definitely not cheap by any means. But yeah, I love the spot. I love the spot with Fred VanVleet in for Sengun, and I like it even more now because he's definitely going to be more of a focal point in the offense. They've kind of been a little squeaky wheel narrative around him, wanting to get him more involved offensively. And yeah, he's had some really good games against Washington in years past. I think he just goes completely off tonight, and I'm going to have a ton of him. He went from one of the toughest matchups versus Detroit, who he kind of had a pretty solid game against Isaiah Stewart. They have some really solid defenders over there in Detroit right now, especially in the front court, but this is the easiest matchup for opposing big men. Even with Joval there, Alexander Sarr there, it didn't really change too much. Washington's allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing centers over the last week, giving up big games to Bam Adebayo, Jaren Jackson Jr., and on the season, they're third worst in DVP to the position. So I think that his chances of going off are very good here. And then, yeah, I had, like, already mentioned Tari Eason, but I like him a lot more now with no Fred VanVleet. I think you want to pair him away from Jabari Smith Jr. because it seems like he's starting to eat into those minutes a little bit. But he's going to get a ton of ownership. So I guess, like, from a leverage standpoint, for only 400 more, you could play the starter in Jabari Smith. I definitely prefer Tari Eason because I just think that a pace-up spot against Washington definitely suits his play style a little bit more. He's very active defensively, going to get some steals and blocks against a team that should be pretty turnover-prone. So I like those guys a ton. I guess Dylan Brooks is probably in play now too at 4.2K. And then Reed Shepherd should get some more playing time here as well. 22, 24 minutes from him, he'd look like a decent value, so I don't mind him at all. But definitely the standouts are Amon Thompson, Tari Eason, and Sengun for me. And then a tier below would be Jalen Green and Brooks and Jabari Smith. And then on the Washington side, with Kuzma returning, definitely muddies the rotation a little bit. I think that if Carrington misses, then we could probably look to some more guys like Jonas Valanciunas. I think that he'd be a pretty solid GPP play because they're going to need his size and defense against Sengun, and he would probably be. I'm not sure if he would start actually because Kuzma is definitely going to be starting at the 4. They're going to want Sarr in there, and then Coulibaly would be there. Poole will be in there, so I'm not sure if Joval would start, but definitely would see a little bit more minutes if Carrington were to miss. Yeah, I don't know. It's the way I'm trying to think about it is if I have like 3 to 4 Rockets guys, I would probably be saying that the game is going to stay close. They could probably all get there in a blowout still, but maybe positively correlating some of these Washington guys makes a little bit of sense on a small slate. But these guys, they don't really look too good to me. I'm not excited about anyone in particular. I guess Joval would be the best option, and then probably Coulibaly next.
Great breakdown. Going back to the Rockets real quick, did you say Thompson? You had the most interest in Thompson with Fred VanVleet sitting out?
Yeah, I mean, he's a near lock for me.
Yeah. And he'll be slotted in to start for Fred VanVleet, I'm assuming, and take, go from 25 to hopefully 35 minutes at that price tag. He's going to be tough to pay off. I kind of like Sengun. I mean, Sengun outside of Joval. I mean, I know Sar, is a big man, but I think Sengun. What's your take on? I know you briefly mentioned, but with no true big men over there outside of Joval, I don't. Sar's okay. Any love for Sengun?
Yeah, love Sengun. He's the third best play on the Rockets, in my opinion. I think that it's Amin Thompson and Tari Eason for their prices, but I think Sengun's got huge upside.
Yeah, no, I really like him as well. Hey, and Andrew Martinez, you said it best. Shout out to any veterans in there in the chat. If you're in there, we certainly appreciate you. Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there that has served or is serving. And if you are a veteran, you're not a member at the Nation, hey, Ham's going to make the executive decision. I want to give you 1 free week over here at the Nation. Just hit us up at info@shipitnation.com. We'll give any veteran in the chat right now a free week over here to check us out. You can get Hebrew's slate plan. You can get the Stone. You can get it all, included NBA, NFL, you name it, we got it. But, yeah, I love that. Yeah, Fred VanVleet is out. That is confirmed, right, Hebrew? I think I saw it earlier today. But, yeah, he's out. Kuzma is in. I initially said that he is that he was out, but he is back in. Bub Carrington would be the biggest news over there at the Wizards. Moving on to the next game, we have a team that I'm never going to play, Hebrew. I just can't do it. The Brooklyn Nets taking on the Pelicans. Tons of injuries over there. I think it was Friday. I called your boy Brandon Boston Jr., and what he do? He put up, 50? Hebrew, you were all over that. You were in the chat saying Brandon Boston. You were on the slate playing saying Brandon Boston. Brandon Boston shot it, I think, 74 times, set an NBA record on Friday night, shooting it every time he touched it. But talk to me a little bit about this game, Nets at the Pelicans, who have tons of injuries over there.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a sneaky game environment to attack. The Nets are playing a little bit up in pace, but the Pelicans, they've just been terrible defensively. They will be getting some reinforcements back tonight. Trey Murphy going to be returning for sure on some sort of minutes limit. He's been out for a while with the hamstring injury. Not sure if he's going to be slotted right back into the starting lineup, but definitely going to take away some of those small forward, power forward minutes. I would imagine it's kind of the spot they are the most thin at right now. So, and yeah, I think with the matchup, I think there are some guys that I do have some interest in the Brooklyn side. Nobody really stands out in a big way, but I think that Nick Claxton makes some sense tonight. Let me pull up the stats real quick. The Bulls so the Pelicans are the team that I alluded to about surpassing the Bulls in rim defense right now. They're dead last in rim defense. Also a bottom 3 defensive rated team right now. Bottom 2. So yeah, this is a very, very surprising start for the Pelicans. Obviously you're down Zion and DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum and Herb Jones. Like Herb Jones and DeJounte Murray definitely hurts not having them out there for defense, because I think that they definitely had big plans for those guys to kind of take on a bulk of the defensive assignments. But yeah, that hopefully they can get it together soon, but it might be a lost season already for the Pelicans. But yeah, this should be a really good matchup for Claxton here. The Pelicans are allowing the 7th most fantasy points to opposing centers over the last week. Claxton's minutes are starting to creep up a little bit, got up to 32 minutes last game, and that was on the back end of a back-to-back. Having Ben Simmons return definitely hurts him a little bit, because they do like to run Ben Simmons as like the center / point guard in the same vein. But yeah, I think Claxton, if we're getting 30 minutes out of him, I think that he's a really, really strong GPP play at 5.7K. And then maybe with Dorian Finney-Smith being questionable, it is semi-big news in terms of the rotation. I don't think that they're going to put Simmons at the 4, but because I just don't think they want to have Claxton and Simmons out there together. But yeah, really good spot for Claxton against a weak rim defense. So I like him. I think Cam Thomas is in a pretty decent spot here. Pelicans have been struggling against shooting guards over the past week or so. Slightly below average DVP team in that position. But he's driving the ball a ton, 16.6 drives per game, scoring 11 points per game, just over 11 points per game off of drives, which is 7th best in the league. So scoring upside really big for him, but you're going to need, I say this every time with Cam Thomas, like you need 35 to 40 real points for him to pay off his price tag when it's in like the mid 7s, low 7s. So I'm not going out my way to play him, but he is in play for sure. Schroeder is a little bit too expensive now with Ben Simmons returning. Cam Johnson, same thing, a little bit too expensive. And then I think Ben Simmons actually hasn't played 4.8K. It sucks he's only point guard eligible, but this could be a spot versus a weak rim defense where he kind of flirts with a triple-double. We've seen him, I mean, like he's done it a couple times already off the bench. He's had 8 assists, 6 rebounds last game, 6 and 6 the game before that. He had 8, 11, and 8 versus Chicago, who's the worst rim defense in the league. So, yeah, this kind of profiles as a pretty decent spot for Ben Simmons coming off the bench. And then if Finney Smith misses, I would just imagine that's probably going to insert Noah Clowney into the starting lineup. Definitely would give guys like Jalen Wilson and really just Noah Clowney, Jalen Wilson I would imagine just take up a bulk of those minutes. But we're talking like 25-ish minutes for Finney Smith, so nothing too crazy. I think there's some better values. So that's where I'm looking to go on the Brooklyn side. On the New Orleans side, I still think this is a little bit too expensive for Brandon Ingram. I need Ingram to be at like the low 8Ks or even below 8K before I get to play him, but projections are going to push him a lot because he's going to look a lot better with all the injuries. But his role didn't really change in a big way. It's only a 1-game sample, so I'm not looking to that too much. But the usage was good. He did lead the team in usage, only 3.1 minutes of touch time, though. The assist numbers were good. He did lead the team in assist percentage as well. So you'd have to get a big rebounding and assist game out of him in order for him to pay off this tag. So I'd be okay getting away from him. I definitely prefer getting down to his teammates, Jose Alvarado and Brandon Boston Jr. Jose Alvarado, 6.2K, looks really good. He led the team in touch time over 6 minutes, had a 30.4% usage rate, 28% assist percentage. So I like him the most. And then Brandon Boston Jr., definitely okay going back to him. He got a really big price bump, but it is warranted. He had his best game of his career in terms of fantasy scoring. He had 43 DK points in that game, which is the most he's ever had. But he's a pretty big, has a really big role right now. Played 38 minutes in back-to-back games, 37 the game before that, and then 30 the game before that. So I think they're going to want to keep him out there for a ton of minutes. So yeah, that's what I'm looking to. Ingram or Alvarado, Boston on New Orleans side, and then Claxton and Simmons on the Brooklyn side.
Yeah, great breakdown there. With Murphy coming back, whose minutes is he going to eat into, right? I mean, Alvarado's minutes have bumped up. Boston's minutes have jumped up. Does he affect them, or is he going to affect the other guys in that rotation? I think for me, that would be the big thing. But who does he impact the most?
Yeah, probably it could be anybody from like Brandon Boston to Robinson Earl. I think that they are probably okay starting Murphy as the 4. Him and Ingram have enough size where they can do that. I just think that Brandon Boston has been too good to take him off the court right now, and I just don't know if Jeremiah Robinson Earl really provides enough at the 4 spot to really like guarantee him 30 plus minutes. I would imagine it's going to be the guys at the 3-4 positions versus not as much Brandon Boston.
Okay, yeah, good to know. And then my other question for you, talk to me a little bit about this. 7,200, you have Kobe White or Cam Thomas. That's 6,900. Let's just go those two. I was going to say Josh Giddey at 6,900, but both are 7,200. Cam Thomas versus Kobe White. Who you taking?
Oh, do I have to take one? I mean, you have $200
well, you
more.
have to pick. You said you had some interest in Cam Thomas. I mean, I'm with you. It's like, what does that guy do outside of score points? Like, he scores 30 points, he's going to have 1 assist and 2 rebounds, not really paying off his tag. I mean, well, you pick one. If you had to pick one, hey, and I'm not saying you're going to play him, but they're the same price, probably about the same projection. Yeah, about a 1 point difference in projection. Who you taking? Who you siding with?
Yeah, I guess I would say Cam Thomas, but I mean, you have Levine, same positional stuff as Cam Thomas for 400 cheaper, and then you should definitely prioritize Jalen Green over Cam Thomas if you have the $200. So yeah, definitely not saying that Thomas is a great play, but we know the type of upside he does have. He just hasn't really shown it much this season. He had 32 against Milwaukee, which is arguably at that time was probably the best matchup for shooting guards. He put up 45 in that one, put up 55 against Atlanta, another really good spot for shooting guards. But he had 36 points in that game. So I'm just saying you definitely need 35 to 40 points for him to really pay off.
And he shot it 27 times. I'm trying to talk you off of any Brooklyn Nets, Rio. You said you had a little bit of interest. Takedown saying, "Wash your mouth, never Clowney." I just can't play those clowns, including Clowney. But hey, it may come back to haunt me
Ben
tonight. I
Simmons,
hope.
though.
Say what?
Ben Simmons might be a good
Yeah,
spot
but
for
yeah,
him.
Ben Simmons. I like Ben Simmons, right? A true underdog story, former top pick. Now he can't do it. Hey, you don't be a clown. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Hebrewcheetah over here bringing the fire, giving you all the good stuff. If you aren't a member at SHIPIT Nation, head on over there now. Enter the promo code NBA15 to lock in 15% off of all sports that we have over here. We only got 5 games today, Hebrew, so we're down to 2 games. We got 2 games left. We got the James Harden-led Clippers going into OKC to take on this Thunder team. James, I'm not going to call it a revenge game because he's been on about 9 teams, and you can't have a revenge game if you've played for more than 8 teams. So Clippers plus 6.5 at OKC. It's a super low total, only at sitting at 218. Talk to me a little bit about this game, Clippers at the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean the biggest, I guess outside of the Fred VanVleet stuff, that was a little bit more unprompted, but yeah, Chet Holmgren gonna miss minimum 8 to 10 weeks. It could be longer. He had a hip fracture basically, from what I'm understanding. But yeah, it's some sort of fracture. He's gonna be out for a while. That's kind of the whole reason why they got a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein, but he's not ready to go yet either. Probably not going to be ready to go until around Thanksgiving. So got a couple more weeks where they're going to have to figure out this rotation, which I think is kind of the main talking point on the OKC side, because there's a lot of guys in play in the sub 5K range, the Carusos all the way down to Isaiah Joe, and I mean even Ousmane Dieng. That's like their only true center on the roster, I guess, if you want to consider Kenrich Williams a center, but he's undersized. Yeah, so it's a very interesting situation for them. I'll just break down the guys up top first, because we know for sure that SGA and Jalen Williams are going to be out there. You just haven't really needed to play SGA this season so far. He's had less than 50 DK points in 7 straight games. This is a pretty tough matchup too. The Clippers have guys that could really give him some trouble scoring the ball, which is a lot of where his fantasy points are going to come from. Derrick Jones Jr., really solid on-ball defender. He's had some foul trouble lately though, so if SGA gets him into foul trouble, then I think that we could be looking at a big game from SGA. But even behind him, they got Terrence Mann, who could fill in. They got Chris Dunn, who's a really good on-ball defender. They still have Amir Coffey. So they have enough guys. And I would imagine they're going to double him a lot, just not having a guy like Chet to kind of help the offensive outlook on OKC makes it a little bit easier to double a guy like SGA. So I could see that happening tonight. I don't think I'm going to be looking to go to SGA personally, but I understand why people would want to with no Chet. Should improve his rebounding percentages along with usage and all that other stuff. But I like Jalen Williams the most in terms of the spend ups on between him and SGA. I think this is a pretty good spot for him. I'm anticipating him to get the start at center tonight. They've been pretty comfortable running him out there at the center, but it could be somebody else who I'll mention in a little bit. But yeah, he should have a really solid role, getting a lot more rebounds. They'd like to stagger him and SGA away from each other, so he'll run that second unit a lot. There's a possibility that they run a small ball lineup with him as a center or somebody else at the center, and that could possibly play Zubac off the floor. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is within the range of outcomes. But yeah, he's safe. Minutes perspective looks really good, and I think the ceiling for him is really good. And then these secondary guys, Alex Caruso is the guy that stands out to me. He's not going to project very good because he's not that good of a point per minute guy, but the Thunder have been very willing to put him on centers. He's done it in years past. He's guarded a lot of centers. They have run out him as a center in small ball lineups before. I think they have enough guys personnel wise to, they could double Zubac. You really only having to worry about a handful of guys like Norm Powell, James Harden, obviously, and then Zubac on the offense side. Not really too worried about, you'd be okay if you're the Thunder if a guy like Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, or Terrence Mann is the guy that beats you. So I think that they have the personnel to run out Caruso out there for big minutes. But the main reason I'm interested in him, I was just looking at some of the advanced numbers for teams, and the Clippers have the 3rd worst turnover percentage in the league this season. And I was just looking at some numbers last year against some teams that Caruso has played against that had, that were towards the bottom of the league in turnover percentage. And he had some big games. Like some of his best games came against the Utah Jazz, who were dead last in turnover percentage last year. Pistons, he had some good games against them, and a couple other teams too. But yeah, I think this could be a spot where if Caruso is hot shooting the ball, I think he's going to be left alone a ton on defense with Zubac defending him maybe. He just has not shot the ball well. He's really not a good shooter, but if he's knocking down like 2 to 3 3-pointers and then he's got the steals upside, I think this could be a pretty solid game for Caruso. So I'm going to be bumping up his projection a little bit. Not looking like he's going to get owned at all. And then I guess like the same argument could be made for a guy like Lou Dort. The range of outcomes is really wide for him, though. He's had a couple of 30-pointers mixed in the last 2 out of 3 games, but then right in between he had a 4-point game. So that's what you're getting when you get a guy like Lou Dort. But he should be I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have like a lot of great things to say about Lou Dort in terms of DFS. Kind of the same thing for like Wiggins, Wallace, and Isaiah Joe too. Like all these guys are going to get in there. I think that the way I probably want to play is just be a max 2 of Dort, Wiggins, Wallace, and Joe, because I just don't really know which one is going to be the one that benefits the most. I think that Joe is probably the best bet just because he's the cheapest and he's probably got the most upside. But Wiggins has shown upside too as well, and he kind of profiles a little bit better defensively in this one. So yeah, hopefully broke it down good enough on the Thunder side, but I'm kind of just flying in blind a little bit. And on the Clipper side, I think it's pretty easy to get away from James Harden here. The Thunder have been elite defensively, especially against pick and roll guys. They are only allowing 8 points per game, which is first by a pretty wide margin to pick and roll ball handlers. I think that's kind of enough for me to get off James Harden. These guys have just been playing a ton of minutes lately too, and they've had a really condensed schedule. So maybe they dial back a little bit. Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing really well lately as well, and they've Ty Lue has kind of talked about getting him some more minutes alongside Harden, which could take away a little bit of usage. But I mean, Harden does have a much safer floor, and if I have to choose between him or SGA, I would probably prefer Harden even in a tougher matchup, just because he's got the rebounding and assist floor. I mean, he's had a triple-double. Only one triple-double this season, but multiple double-doubles with both reboundings and with assists. So floor looks really good on Harden. Zubac is probably just a bit too expensive at 8K in this spot, but definitely a much easier matchup with no Chet. They were already giving up a good amount of points to opposing big men. Actually, I take the back. I do like Zubac a little bit more because I have some stats that kind of back up why he's a decent play. He still looks overpriced, but he's 4th in the league in post scoring and 2nd in the league in post touches behind Jokic. So I could definitely see them looking to run the offense through him a little bit more. They're not gonna. Ty Lue is not gonna take him off the floor. He's just been too good this season. They're gonna, if anything, they're gonna find a way to exploit him on offense and get him going. I just think that he's pretty safe minutes wise, and he's definitely got big upside. Norm Powell, really pricey now, 7.3K, but the Thunder do give up a good amount of catch and shoot stuff, a lot of 3-pointers. He's been lights out this season shooting the ball, so do like him a little bit, even though he's going to be, even though he's a little bit too high price, but he's going to be under a 2% owned probably, and that's enough for me to get onto him on such a small slate. And then Kevin Porter Jr. I think is okay to keep in your player pool because just like what I said, Ty Lue wants to play him a little bit more, and he has been really good. He's got multiple stat upside, 8 rebounds, 7 assists 4 games ago, 6 and 5 last game, put up 32 points, played 22 minutes, which was the most he played all season. So that I feel like I talked a long time about this game when I don't really have a ton of interest on the Clippers side, but definitely have interest on OKC.
Yeah, I didn't know if this was Tambo or Rio on the line with me, talking about a 218-point game. And a couple of things to address. Newens, come on now, my man Newens. Like Ben Simmons, underdog story. Hey, I'll be honest with you, though, Newens. Giannis is growing on me this year. I kind of like him a little bit more. Him and Jalen got into some beef. I think that was yesterday. So I just like Simmons, man, because everybody – piles on him, and you can't do it all. And I'm Giannis is growing on me, so I'm coming around on all those Wisconsin boys over there. The one other thing I was going to put up there, where was it? Can't seem to find it, but no, excellent breakdown on that, especially on the Thunder side. Always tough to get those guys right. Obviously, a good real life team, but missing a key cog tonight. So I think you broke it down excellent. We got one game left, which should be a good game. We got the Sacramento Kings heading into San Antonio to take on Victor Wembanyama. Should be a good one. Sabonis, somebody in the chat thinks Sabonis is going to shut him down. Who is that said that? Go Foos thinks that that's going to happen. Interested to hear your take. Good real life game, as you can see. Only a 1.5 point spread. Talk to me a little bit about this game. What kind of interest do you have in this one? CP3 love. Kings at Spurs.
Yeah, this is definitely a very good game. Both these teams, I feel like, have slightly outperformed their current defensive numbers. I just don't think that either team has the greatest team personnel defensive wise. I think Wemby is getting obviously much better as a rim protector, but like last season they were pretty bad with the rim defense aside from him having a ton of blocks per game. And then the Kings, I mean, they're first in the league right now in rim scoring or rim points allowed, which is kind of interesting. I don't think that anybody really regards Sabonis as like an elite defender, but he's been really good this season. DeMar has kind of always been a solid defender. I think that Fox kind of an underrated defender as well, but same with Keegan Murray and Herter. Like, I take it back. The Kings are playing about where they should be playing defensively because they do have pretty solid defenders out there. But the Spurs, on the other hand, I think we'll start to see those numbers come down a little bit. But yeah, the main thing on the Kings side is that these guys are playing so many minutes right now. I think all their starters are averaging 37 or more minutes per game. And Kevin Herter is the only one averaging less than 37 right now. It definitely should be pretty clear spot for him to see 30 minutes with no Malik Monk tonight. But Keon Ellis should mix in a little bit there. But yeah, it's just they don't really have enough depth to not play these guys heavy minutes if they want to win games. I mean, you look at their bench unit, Doug McDermott, Jordan McLaughlin, Alex Len, Trey Lyles, like Keon Ellis is good, but those guys are probably third, fourth string guys on other good teams. So it's pretty rough for Sacramento right now. I don't know how long they could sustain playing these guys all these minutes, but don't really need to worry about that because tonight I think that we see heavy minutes again, and this is probably one of the better game environments because we know it's going to be close. The spread's only 1 point in favor of Sacramento. So yeah, I have interest in all three of these guys. Start with Sabonis. Haven't really seen the same ceiling with Sabonis this season. With DeMar DeRozan entering that starting lineup, I think it's been taken away a little bit of usage from him, a little bit of scoring upside. But yeah, I think you kind of have to have interest in anybody that's going to be in the 9Ks that has 40, like true 40-minute upside, triple-double upside. He's done pretty well against Wemby in the last year. He had, I think, is averaging like right around 56 DK points per game. But yeah, much different season right now with DeMar DeRozan in there. But yeah, I still think that Sabonis is one of the better plays on the entire slate. Same goes for De'Aaron Fox. Probably one of the more favorable matchups on the other side. Stephon Castle, I would imagine, going to be defending De'Aaron Fox. Castle looks to be on his way to being a really good defender, really good NBA player. But De'Aaron Fox is a vet. I think he'll be able to exploit him, and he should be able to come away with the W in terms of the matchup here. And he's been shooting the ball a ton right now, just not shooting all that well. The peripherals haven't been great either, but he's taken 20-plus shots in 4 of his last 5 games. Sacramento kind of a little bit more vulnerable to the guards right now. So I do like Fox right now at 8.5K. DeMar DeRozan been extremely consistent this season. He's only had one game where he really failed his price tag, and that was last game where he put up only 26 points. Or I think it was 2 games ago. Put up 26.25 DK points against the Clippers, but pretty much otherwise has been in the low 40s. Like, he had a 35-pointer against Toronto, which you definitely don't love to see. But, I mean, he's scoring the ball well. He's going to have Harrison Barnes on him. Should be able to win that matchup. So I think DeMar DeRozan makes for a pretty strong play at 7.7K. Good price on him. Keegan Murray been rebounding the ball really well right now. 6.2K for him. Double-digit boards in 5 of his last 6 games and only scored less than 34 DK points twice over that span. One of those games, he was 3 points away from the double-double. So would have gotten, an extra 4.5 points, whatever it is, and would have been above 30. But yeah, small slate. I definitely have a ton of interest in Keegan Murray. And then Kevin Herter. If you're telling me we're getting 30 minutes out of Herter, I think that he's probably one of the better values on the slate. Shot volume should increase. He shot 6 for 12 last game, 5-9 from deep, added a bunch of rebounds and assists. The steals were there. Probably has the best matchup outside of DeMar DeRozan in terms of the starters, and I'll definitely be playing a good amount of Kevin Huerter. You could say that Keon Ellis would be leverage off of Huerter, but I don't know if there's enough like upside from a guy like Keon Ellis to make it make sense. Like even if you get the minutes right and Keon Ellis gets more minutes than Huerter, you still need Ellis to pay off his price tag. And it's not like he's 3.5K, like he's 4K. You probably need 20 plus from him. And I just feel a little bit more confident that Huerter has that in him than Ellis right now. And then on the Spurs side, I think that you could get into a game stack here. It's a little bit tougher with adding Devin Vassell back into the mix. He played first game of the season against Utah last game, played 21 minutes, I believe, 22 minutes, shot the ball really well. But yeah, he's not really a player, and I just don't think it's going to be a while before we start to see like 35 minutes from Vassell. Chris Paul now seems a little bit too expensive with Vassell returning. He's kind of taken a step back lately after that hot stretch where he was getting double-doubles left and right. He's shooting the ball poorly, 0 for 6 against Utah, which is like if they were on the main slate, I definitely would have played Chris Paul because I love attacking Utah with point guards. But yeah, I'm glad that they weren't. Yeah, it just seems a little bit too expensive right now. I guess Keldon Johnson looks decent. He's been playing a lot more since Jeremy Sochan went down. He's 5.9K. I think Castle is decent. He played 35 minutes last game, but again, that was one of the best matchups for guards against Utah. This is not really the same, but I don't know if we're getting 30 out of Castle, I would have interest in him, but I'm not sure we're going to get that. It definitely matters if Brandon plays because the Castle's first or second start, he really lost a lot of minutes to Malachi Branham. So his questionable tag is like decently big in terms of Castle's minutes, floor ceiling. And then, yeah, Wemby, I think that, I mean, if he continues to be low owned, I'm just going to keep playing him because I know that he's probably one of the few guys on this entire slate with 80-point upside, DraftKings points upside. Kind of up and down meetings last year against the Kings. He had his first 5x5 game last year, which is 5 blocks and 5 steals. Put up 62.8 DK points in that one. So definitely know that he has a ceiling there, but kind of seeing a little bit of a trend with Wemby this season. He's really good in the matchups that he should be really good in, and then really bad in the tougher ones. You look at a matchup like Utah, for example. It's one of the best spots for centers. He put up 67 and 59 against Utah. And then you zoom out a little bit. He played Minnesota and OKC. He put up 23 against OKC, 34 against Minnesota. I guess right now, like on paper, it's a bad matchup, but I'm not really buying that Sacramento is this good defensively, and I know that he's got the ceiling, so I definitely want to get to him tonight. But probably just on the outside looking in terms of a single entry play for me.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. With who gets the bigger bump in minutes with no Monk? You think it's Ellis, or you think it's Huerter, or you think it's Dougie McBucket? So, I mean, I would. Who do you think gets the usage increase?
Yeah, definitely Huerter and Ellis. I would imagine they did play McDermott a little bit last game, but I mean, you're asking for a lot to get any sort of production from Doug McDermott at this point of his career.
And one thing I want to correct you on that you said earlier, you said Keon Ellis is good, and hashtag, I looked at my notes, he's not any good. So he'll probably go and score 30 tonight, but I don't think he's any good. But hey, I could be wrong there. Hey, somebody, I'm going to go back up. Go Collect said it best. Got over 250 people in here watching. Hey, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button for us. Helps us out a ton. I want to give you Hebrewcheetah's play of the day, low owned and his high price guy. So make sure you're doing that. I think we're up to, looks like we're at 51 likes. So less than, I'm not a math major, but less than 20 or right at 20% of you. Hit that like button. Please, that's all we ask. These shows are free, coming to you 5 days a week. Hebrew, we broke it all down for you right there. I want to give the folks a quick sneak peek over here at your slate plan. I'm going to pull up your slate plan real quick, show you everything that we have to offer, and make sure and give them some time to hit that like button. I'm going to pull it up right now. You should be able to see the slate plan. I'm telling you, folks, there's nothing better out there than what Hebrew puts together. You can see all the in-depth analysis that goes into it, breaking down every single player. I mean, basically, you name it, Hebrew's got it. FanDuel, DK Price, Not only that, we have the stone, the projections. We even do a showdown slate. Not many people do that over here. Projections and a slate plan for the showdown, which my guy Hebrewcheetah and BJ do every day. We got a core report that we all give out, cash core report that my man Title. So if you're not a member at the Nation, head on over there now. Enter the promo code NBA15. That will get you 15% off of all your membership. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. Hebrew, let's see how many likes we got. We're up to 65 likes. There we go. We're back at it. Up to 65 likes. Give me a guy that you like that's, let's say, 8K and higher. Then give me some guy lower than 8K that you're going to be on that maybe is not going to be as popular tonight.
Yeah, before I put the slate plan up, I was like mentally making a note because I knew you were going to ask me something about this today because I forgot last week and I just kind of reluctantly said Trae Young. I think he had his worst game of the season, so I will not do that again. But yeah, first off, with the showdown stuff tonight, we will not have showdown. It's just not really worth doing when they put out these weak prize pools, and every game tonight starts at the same time. So I don't think that we'll have enough need for the showdown. It's just focus on main slate tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow and for the rest of the week. So 8K and up, guys. I would say Sengun. He's right below 8K, and he's going to get a ton of ownership. I give me De'Aaron Fox. I think that this is a good spot for De'Aaron Fox. I think that he's going to take it to Stephon Castle. Always like my guy Fox. 8.5K looks like a really good price tag for him. So I'll go De'Aaron Fox 8K and up. And then, yeah, outside of locking Almond Thompson, I can't do that. But, yeah, I think that Alex Caruso, I should have brought a headband out tonight, but I'm going Alex Caruso tonight. I like him to get put up a high steal and block game, and I think he's definitely going to pay off his price tag of 4.2K. So, yeah, give me Caruso.
Yeah, great call. I'm going with D Mitch Spider Man. What does he always say? What does he tweet out when he's ready?
What is it? Oh fuck! What is it? It's the cat, like whatever their like hashtag is.
Yeah, I forget.
I was thinking take note because that's the Jazz one, but
it's him and I forget what it is. But if you know what it is, put it in the chat. My guy Trey Palmer says, what does he always say? Something. I
woke up angry.
Yeah, woke up angry. Yeah, there you go.
Woke up pissed off.
Yeah, woke up pissed off. Yeah, Spider. Give me Spider tonight. I certainly appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate all the veterans out there. Certainly appreciate that. Any closing thoughts, Hebrew, before we get on out of here?
No. Yeah, I kind of mentioned at the top of the show, but yeah, this is a great sports week. Lots of money to be made. We have great content up and down the board, every sport. Obviously, NBA. We're talking NBA, so we'll be in the NBA Discord. But yeah, you had the guys break down the NFL Showdown stuff earlier this morning, and then the pay-per-view stuff. Pay-per-view MMA card is going to be awesome. Thursday night is when Big Marley and Tidal do their show, so I'll definitely be tuning into that while we're watching some Thursday night football. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good start to their week and a good night tonight in the NBA streets.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up a good point earlier too. All these games are tipping at 8 o'clock. I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, or might be 7 Eastern, 6 Central. But in any event, no showdown content tonight because hey, we normally do that when DraftKings puts those those West Coast games out on an island by themselves. So we certainly appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching this on playback. We certainly appreciate it. My guy Hebrew, you'll be here tomorrow with Tidal, right? It's you and Tidal tomorrow. Yeah, Tidal. BJ in Hebrew tomorrow. Got a big boy slate tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in. Same time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We certainly appreciate everybody. Have a good night. Good luck in those contests. Let them know. That's right. Let's ship it.